Well played, Carl.
Because I'm laughing so much.
You got me
So
today. That was a good one. That was a good one.
like he's on the row. I need to do something. So welcome
Yep.
everybody.
Yep.
This call is starting on a
Right
very
now, she muted me
all right. That
right when
means
I was talking. It was like perfect timing.
the floor is
Perfect
yours.
timing. Thanks, girls. Thank you. You ready? She's not going to talk now. All right. Maris, welcome to the call. It's good to have you here. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Hilton, what is up, my man? Loving the shirt as always. We got Denise. Hello. Thank you for coming to hang out with the cool kids. Hassan, always a pleasure, my man.
Hi,
The
Danny. Hi, everyone.
beard game is looking tight. Well done. Impressive, sir. John Thwaites, our resident bartender, my friend. It's good to have you. All right, Curls. You move my big picture now. I can see everybody. Thank you. I don't have to scroll down and look at myself anymore. All right. Well, guys, today, welcome. Good to have you here on our call. Gratitude, attitude, and commitment. Today we have a topic, and as usual, since this is our call, we will get everyone to participate. But I was just going to cover a little bit in the beginning, just some of my thoughts on something called the discipline code. Susanna, hello. Whoops, Susan. There we go. Good to see you. Moving my screen around. The discipline code. So we had a call, I don't know, a couple months ago now. I don't know how long ago these things, if time flies, when we're having fun, hanging out with cool kids, on the happiness equation, right? And so today we're going to do one on the discipline code. I was reading a little bit about this and I thought that it was super interesting. So I just wanted to kind of share some of the insights that I got from it with you guys. And then, afterwards, the best part is maybe think of some areas in your life that you would like better results in, that you would like improved, and see if we can maybe apply some of the method of the discipline code to that area of our lives to actually do something, right? Because it's not just about saying things, it's about doing things. Okay, so today we're going to talk about taking action and controlling the things that we can control with discipline. And I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, we have to be disciplined because we won't always be motivated. I think motivation is, I'm a fan, but it's kind of finite. It's kind of like willpower. I think it's fleeting. It comes and it goes. And if we can learn to be disciplined, then it can help us execute when we don't necessarily feel like it. And that's what winners do. And since we're all winners and cool kids, man, that's what today's call is about. So we're going to talk about creating the mindset to win, like with entrepreneurship, with health, or with really any area of your life. Okay. And it's about learning how to be accountable for ourselves, and then doing the work to be our version of successful. Success is a pretty broad term, and it means different things to different people. So, I believe that, we look internally and see, well, what do we consider to be successful? It doesn't necessarily have to be a bunch of money. It doesn't have to be trophies. It just might be getting to hang out with your dog for the day and not having to go to work, for somebody who's an asshole. It's just kind of about doing whatever you want to do. So it's about taking your life, into your own hands and going out and executing and producing something that, that we'll be proud of and happy with and fulfilled by. And so, what I'm going to share today, I just read about. I didn't create this, but I really looked and kind of see where I implemented my own life and where I need to do a better job of that, and something we've all heard said, especially in our community here, is that in order to succeed, you have to believe that the success is for you, right? Like you got to believe you're great before you can be great. We rarely, think that we suck in all these areas, and then we wake up and all of a sudden we're amazing at it. That's not generally how it works. So we have to have the belief that we deserve success, and I'm here to tell you that it's for you, right? It's not just for other people. Success is something that you can achieve, wealth, if that's what you want, is something you can achieve. You know, a fit body is something you can achieve. Great relationships, any of it, right? I mean, they're all things that we can experience and that we can achieve. And you know, what holds a lot of us back, you know, the average person doesn't really believe that these things are possible for them. You know, they look at people who are peak performers, you know, say like, I don't know, professional athletes or Academy Award winners, 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs, the people who are, you know, doing well in real life. And they look at these people and they say, man, they just have it. You know, they possess this discipline that I just don't have. And that's why they're the peak performers. And, you know, that's why they experience all this success and I never will. You know, and that's a story that, a lot of us tell ourselves. You know, Curls was talking before the call about self-love, how important. Well, part of self-love is how we talk to ourselves, right? And we can't think that these other people, you know, have this gift that I don't have, right? That's a huge problem. Is, you know, we see it as a gift and not a skill. Now, you know, if that's ever something that like you've thought about, you know, like just audit yourself, right? Like, how do you really think about it? You know, is that what you're afraid of? Is that why maybe you're hesitant to actually give it 100%? You know, if we use, say, building an online business as an example, okay, we know it works. We've seen countless people, you know, over a decade, well over a decade, succeed, live amazing lives. You know, and if we've been here in the online space for a while, you know, why do I believe that maybe we're not as far along as we'd like to be? You know, I mean, if that's you and that's how you think, I get it, right? I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, say that we're weak or, you know, accuse you of having a negative mindset. I mean, self-doubt is a real thing, and we all struggle with it. And you know, we all have a voice inside of our head, and you know, winning the battle of that inner dialogue is, I mean, it's one of the hardest things that we'll ever do in life. You know, but I want to explain this principle, and you know, I believe can help you do that. And you know, it will actually help you believe that success is for you, right? That you can become a peak performer and experience these high levels of happiness and success that you desire, whatever that looks like for you. And you know, the principle is very simple, as everything I try to do, right? Like, I'm simple. There's basically 2 levels of it. Okay. There's micro discipline and there's macro discipline. And I'll kind of explain the difference and then tell you why it's essential to our success, you know, that we understand the difference. So I'm gonna give you an example here, kind of a little mini story, because I like stories. You know, I got the Calm app. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but like, I've used Headspace forever, and I decided to try Calm. And it has this little session in there on LeBron James. Right? Does anybody not know who LeBron James is? He's probably the best basketball player in America now. You know, the younger generation will tell you he's the best ever, but Michael Jordan is the best ever. Let's be serious. So I'm just going to give you a little example. Now, and these are kind of his words that I just took, but this is to me, an awesome example of one of these types of discipline that I'm talking about. So, you know, in this meditation, this story, he's saying, you know, it's 2015, and they're in the United Center in Chicago, which is a tough place to play. It's the playoffs. It's the Eastern Conference semifinals, and it's the 4th quarter of the game. Which, if you don't know anything about basketball, it's basically like the end. It's the last quarter. The game is tied, and there's 1.5 seconds left on the clock. Okay. Now, you know, his team is in a timeout, and they're about to inbound. They're about to give him the ball. He's going to get the ball. Everybody in the entire building knows that he's going to get the ball. Okay. It's no surprise. He's the best player. He's going to take the last shot. So, you know, he gets the inbound pass, and he's in midair. There's just over a second left. Now, in this moment, you know, there's 20,000 screaming fans. Okay. He's got the defender is all up in his face. He's got all his teammates, all his coaches watching him, relying on him. Like, the commentators are like holding their breath to wait to see if this is going to be like a disappointment or if it's going to be amazing. You know, his family's watching, his friends, everyone close to him in life is there to see him, right? There's over 10,000 sports writers and analysts just waiting to write the headline, like overrated or unbelievable. You know, millions of fans are watching on TV, and his team is actually down 2-1 in the series. So if he misses, their season is probably on its way to being over. And it feels like there's a million tons of pressure compressed into this single second for him. Obviously, it's not helpful to think about all that stuff, right? So what does he do? Right? He doesn't let his mind run or let his emotions get the best of him. He has confidence in all the preparation that he's put in leading up to this moment, leading up to this 1 second. You know, all the work that mentally, physically, emotionally has prepared him for this moment, right? And he's just in a state of flow. And that's what macro discipline is. You know, macro discipline is the discipline you demonstrate when you're performing, right? It's like what comes out. Like it isn't as much of an action, but like a state of being. And peak performers in all areas of life possess this macro discipline, you know, and it's just like human beings possess a soul. It's part of them, okay? And it's part of who they are. You know, it's not who they are, it's part of them. And you know, it's macro discipline that enabled Michael Jordan, who was the greatest basketball player of all time, to do that over and over and over again, right? Macro discipline that made people like, you know, Abraham Lincoln and Winston Churchill and Martin Luther King like great leaders. Like they didn't sit there and think about all the little things they were doing when they were up there leading people. That's just what came forth, right? Because of their macro discipline. And it's what makes it like in our world, it's what makes it look effortless when like Stuart or Justin or somebody addresses the community, you know, or if you've ever seen, I was thinking about from a technical perspective, like if you've ever seen any of Dan Holloway's ads, for example, like it's like as natural as breathing to him, right? And it's not because he was born with that. It's because he's disciplined himself to do the things over and over and over again that just make it come natural when it's time to execute. And that's what macro discipline is, you know, and it's you know, for me, I mean, it's got me whatever little small accomplishments that I've ever had in my life, right? Like the ability to speak to people at treatment centers, you know, or coach people and have a positive impact on their lives, right? You know, most recently, be a guest on world famous podcasts like our man Hilton, you know, and Casper has with Mark and Tony, right? Like they're global. It's pretty impressive, you know. Some might say, sexiest man in the world. I didn't say that, but some might. I'm just saying, okay? These are all macro discipline behaviors. Okay. And here's the thing. If we point any peak performers and say, like, I don't have the discipline they have, you know, we're right. We don't, right? Because we're looking at is their performance. We're witnessing is the macro discipline at play, you know. So like I said, it's not a single quality that you can possess, right? It's the quality of existence that possesses you. So if we look at all the peak performers, like as they're performing in whatever element they're in, you know, their business, their relationships, you know, their field, and we compare ourselves to them, then of course we're going to be discouraged, right? And it'll be tough to believe that we can really perform like that. You know, that's the bad news. You know, but the good news is that, and this sounds kind of Zenish, I guess, right? But is that you can experience macro discipline by not trying to pursue it, okay? But by pursuing a completely different level of discipline. And that's what I'm talking about is micro discipline. Okay, that's where we focus our energy. It's whereas macro discipline, you know, like we said, is a state of kind of being in flow, if you've heard that word. Micro discipline is focused on what you do. Now, this is the shit that's my jam, right? Like micro discipline is all about the individual decisions and actions that we make. And another way of saying it would be macro discipline is your demonstration when you perform. And micro discipline is the discipline you exercise when you are preparing and engaging in a process. Okay, macro discipline, that's the game time. Micro discipline is the daily practice, right? So, excuse me, for example, like when we set goals in the 90-day commitments, like in the committed to action group we had, like I was talking with Karen about before this, and Chris is doing it, and quite a few people here. Okay, if we put in there a goal that we're going to read a certain amount of books, well, we don't sit down and read 10 books at one time. We set aside time each day to read part of a book. Okay, like if we're going to focus on our health, we don't drop 10 pounds or lower our cholesterol by 50 points all at once. You know, we make individual decisions not to eat dessert, just tonight. Okay. And like, we aren't creating this person that we want to be all at one time, right? Like that would be overwhelming. We would be setting ourselves up for failure. What we're doing is we're focusing on a single decision, a single action over a specific period of time. You know, you're zeroing in on the one step of the process, you know, one link in the chain. And for that reason, it's not overwhelming. It's totally doable, right? It's breaking things down into bite-sized, manageable pieces. And most importantly, it's also very effective when you exercise micro-discipline consistently, day after day, week after week, year after year. Each decision and each action starts to combine and compound. And when they converge, and then that's when you enter the state of macro discipline. Okay. That's when you possess it. It's like a soul. Okay. That's when it becomes who you are on the inside, not just on the outside. What we got to keep in mind, you know, is anyone can exercise micro discipline to become a peak performer or successful, you know, whatever we consider that to be. But the opposite is also true, you know, and this is the part that gets a lot of people in trouble is, you know, anybody who's a top performer in any area of life can stop doing those things, right? You can stop exercising micro discipline, and then what happens? You lose it, right? I mean, this isn't something that we possess permanently. It's a perishable skill. It's not like, you know, people exercise to get in shape or to get healthy, right? Reduce their blood pressure, cholesterol, lose weight, whatever the reason. Well, a lot of people, when they achieve that, it's because they're doing the things every single day. They get them that result. And now they have this result, and then what do? They quit doing it, right? They let themselves slip. They start going back into the old habits, and then they're right back where they started, and they wonder how they got there, because they quit exercising the little micro discipline activities on a daily basis that got them the result they're trying to get in the first place. Okay. So we can lose it, and like talent won't keep it for us. You know, intelligence won't keep it for us. There's no like amount of resources. You can't buy it. You know, the only way someone enters and remains in the state of macro discipline is to continue practicing micro discipline. And since anyone can focus on the individual decisions and singular actions they take on a day-to-day basis. You know, there is zero distinction between people who are, you know, quote unquote meant for success and those who aren't. That's good news, right? Because that means we can all do it. Like, we can all possess microdiscipline and exercise those and level the playing field, right? We're all equal like that. So, you know, everyone has the same opportunity to pursue and fulfill their own true potential, which is awesome. So as you think about experiencing more success in your life or more happiness, you know, don't make the mistake of witnessing macro discipline or somebody who's, you know, what you consider successful and comparing yourselves to them, you know, and coming to the conclusion that we'll never be like them. That's why most people don't even try. They look at the end result of somebody who's put in all this work and think it happened overnight. Like, well, I can't do that, right? Focusing on the macro discipline in someone else is just counterproductive, and it can be demoralizing. That's not what we want, right? We can't decide to practice macro discipline because it's not a skill. It's not a habit. Okay, it's a state of being of what we become by practicing micro discipline. You know, becomes who we are, and we can't fake it. So instead, focus on the little things that we can control. Focus on the level of discipline that has to do with the decisions and the actions that we make on a daily basis, right? Decisions made at a single point in time, actions that are executed at a single point in time. And that's how you enter into macro discipline. That's how you stay in that state. It's individual decisions, singular actions, execute and repeat, execute and repeat. And it's not overwhelming that way. It's not rocket science. It's doable and it's effective. And if you focus your level of micro discipline, you have every good reason to believe that you'll become successful, whatever that means to you in any area of life that you're trying to accomplish. And who experiences the high levels of happiness? Who gets to experience the high levels of success? Who gets to experience these high levels of fulfillment? Everybody. As long as we do the work. So that resonated with me. Whenever I was reading that, and that's what I wanted to share here, because on our call, it's a lot about taking action and doing the things that make our life better, right? About doing, not just about talking about stuff. So I wanted to kind of open it up here a little bit and see, have somebody give us some examples. For one, if you're doing anything like, Karen or Chris, I have you share a little bit of what you're doing and you're committed to action, with your daily habits that you've created and your commitments and how that's experienced. And if anybody has anything that they would like to see improved, we can break it down and apply this micro discipline to it and see how we can move forward where we're trying to go. So Johnny, hello on the phone. Paul, good to see you, man. It's been a while, brother. Nasco, always a pleasure. Did not get to greet you guys. I have to shrink everybody's beautiful face whenever I'm reading. Be a few months too. I'm gonna have to wear my reading glasses when we do this, because it seems like the text is getting smaller. So Karen, why don't you go first? Tell me about something that you're doing that you've made the commitments to, that you're seeing a difference in so far by keeping your micro distance.
That's an interesting one. It's for me, definitely. I mean, I've got all the kind of, the SFM type things, but then I started to really focus on my health, especially after Christmas holidays, and I was locked down and eating way too much chocolate. So I decided that I needed to lose a few kilos and just try to get healthy. So I set myself a challenge, but of tracking calories. That's how I decided I was going to start. But it's morphed into something so much more, because just tracking them every day. And once a week I was recording my weight and, the changes in my body or whatever. But then I realized that counting calories isn't sustainable for me, because it takes too long. And then I realized there were other complications, like apparently your metabolism changes and gets slower, and then you stop losing weight. And, it's just gets complicated. So I'm finding just the process of tracking it, I'm having to kind of tweak my goals and kind of tweak the way I'm doing things as I go along. But if I wasn't tracking it at all, it would probably not be as clear in my head, I think, because I'd be a bit lost as to where I was going and, what was working and what wasn't working, because I would probably be trying too many things at the same time. But sticking to one thing, trying it, tracking the results, and then seeing, okay, that worked at first, but now it doesn't work. But now I've got a clearer idea of what will work for me. So I'm going to progress forwards with the new plan and track that and just continue. And I find it really interesting, actually. Even when I'm failing, actually, when you fail, it's even more interesting, because you can analyze what went wrong, especially if you're trying these micro commitments every single day and you're doing your best to stick to them. You can really see clearly what's working and what isn't working.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you. Yeah. If part of said, I'm sure a lot of you have, whatever we track, we improve. Even if we don't go into it with the intention of changing anything, just the simple fact that we're tracking something and keeping up with it helps us improve in that area. A great example is drinking water, right? Which just sounds so basic. And if you ask most people, do you drink enough water? Oh yeah, I drink a ton of water. I drink 4 of these. I drink a lot. Okay, well just track it. Just check it out for the day. Get your little app and just hit plus however many ounces or milliliters, right? You're drinking of water each day, and just track it. And for one, people realize they probably weren't drinking as much as they thought before. But now that they actually have to put it down, like I've done that. I think I drink a bunch of water. Now I started tracking it. I'm like, I'm down an extra glass of water just because whatever. I'm the only one looking at this, but I want to impress myself. You know what I mean? So just the fact that we track something helps us improve it. And of course, unless we know where we're starting from, how do you know what growth even looks like? You know? And so I love how how you mentioned that it gives us the awareness to pivot and adjust and make changes to improve whatever it is we're trying to get better at. Cool. I appreciate you sharing. Thank you. Chris, what's one of your micro commitments that you've been doing, man, that you've seen some benefit in?
Actually, I went old school and I wrote, keep it in front of me so that I have to commit. If it's on the computer, I find that, okay, that's background. I won't notice it. But if I keep a piece of paper in front of me, I have to look at it every single moment of every day while I'm in the office. So that's one of my commitments. And actually you brought up that was an awesome topic to get into, because yeah, I made micro goals so that I had something tangible and measurable so that I could actually commit to those. And as I progress, I check them off. That gets rid of the self-doubt. And then for the macro, it's the practice of doing it over and over and over again so you can do it without thinking. And when I get to that point, then it's natural.
Absolutely, brother.
And then
No, go ahead.
And then removing the temptation, taking this and throwing it in another room so that it's not a distraction.
Yeah, man.
And that's what I've been doing.
I love it. I appreciate it. Yeah, you got the spreadsheet there. I'll let me see something here. I'll show you guys this real quick. So this is mine because I have issues. But what I do is I keep it up in front of me on the computer, right? And these are all just micro commitments every day, right? That's what I do. And for me, it works. It works to have it on the computer because some kind of OCD, right? So you know, if you have like an iPhone or a Droid, like if you get an email, it'll have a little red bubble that says you got like 4 new emails or 3 new emails or whatever that is. I can't stand that red bubble. Like it drives me crazy. So same thing with my computer. If I have something that's open, like I have to address it to close it. Otherwise it will drive me nuts. So I have my spreadsheet, and until I've completed these things for each day, I have to leave it open, right? And that sounds ridiculous. And I know that I'm ridiculous, but it works for me, right? So however it is that we keep up with these micro commitments, doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The main thing is that we get accountable and that we keep up with them to ourselves, you know. And whenever I started doing this, which has been a while, you know, the thing that got me into this whole little spreadsheet thing was the Transcend You challenge that Stuart put down at Momentum Day back when we were all allowed to like be in person and see each other, which was cool. In February of 2019, you know, he made this challenge, and he said it's kind of like Fortopia that we have now, but that wasn't a thing back then. And it was to pick these areas of your life and to make these little commitments on what you think is gonna kind of move you forward. And that's when I started doing that, and I've done it well ever since then. Really, you know, I'll go 12 weeks, take a week off, go 12 weeks, take a week off ever since February of 2019, and it's really served me. And so whenever I came across this piece of content, that's why I wanted to talk about it with you guys, because it's been my experience that it's very helpful, right? And it makes things more manageable whenever we break it down like that. So, I mean, who has an area of their life they would like to see improved, or something that's not where it is, and you feel like you're kind of stuck in gaining momentum maybe in that area. We'll see if we can apply the principle to it and break it down. And I can just call on people too.
I want to share there something, Denny, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely, brother. This is our call, man. Everybody can share.
You say the amazing thing. You said two words there that really fascinated me. One is you make a difference between micromanagement and macro management, so small and big. And the other word which you said is chain. And I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with the weakest link. So the weakest link in a chain is that one thing. How do you call that? Like a chain piece, a link. Yeah, that's. And so basically, one of the things that I find fascinating here is that when we talk about discipline, is that you and micromanagement is that during the day just work on that link. And sometimes you don't really know. You know that you're working on a bigger chain, but sometimes you don't really know what the bigger chain is about. Why are you making the bigger chain? And so what you said earlier in your intro, Danny, there is so when people finish the chain, they throw it away because they don't know why they made a chain. And there's a fascinating thing about working on that daily chain, not knowing why you're making that chain, but knowing or believing in yourself that for whatever reason, in the end, you will have a chain of whatever you created. And that chain will, in the end, be of benefit of the bigger chain, or maybe it will be a chain in the machine. And before you know, you've got a whole motorbike or whatever. And you don't know a lot of the times what you are creating, but it's important. You can't build the motorbike or whatever it is if you don't make that little chain or that little piece perfectly, because it will snap. And that's why I think it's so important to work on the daily things that you're doing, if that makes any sense.
It does, man. I agree with it. I had not heard that particular analogy, but I resonate with it.
I just made it up after your.
That's probably why. That's probably why I heard that. I'm not in your head, which could be good. I love the analogy. The one I like. I'm sure he didn't originate with it, but Will Smith, I heard him talking about it one time. And he was just talking about whenever you're building a brick wall, it's you don't focus on the whole wall. It's you wake up every day and say, I'm going to lay this one brick. I'm going to lay this one brick to the best of my ability and do the best that I can with this one brick. And then you wake up tomorrow and you do the same thing. You do the same thing, and eventually you have your wall, right? But if we focus on the end result, the whole wall, that's when things get overwhelming, and I've done, a lot of people just give up at something because they're looking at the totality of the task in front of them. It's that whole every journey begins with a single step type thing, right? And that's how I like to break it down. So I appreciate you sharing. Hilton, whenever you were beginning your journey of doing a video like every day, or was it 4 videos a day, right? Like you did that with the intent of, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but tell us about that and what you've gained from it.
Yes, in the first lockdown, I on my morning walks, I did a goal which was to do 6 videos a day over 21 days, which was 205 live videos in 21 days. And I've always been strong with videos, but I think just to have that challenge, it sort of opened up a part of my mind which was really creative. First of all, you kind of made the goal, and then so you've got the what you're going to do. Then you've got to work out how are you going to achieve that? How are you going to make that happen? And I then decided I can join quite a few of these Facebook groups and just randomly do them. And it started off doing like some of the SFM. I did a video every day in the 90-day challenge for 1 year when I first joined. So it was something which but what you mentioned, what you said about discipline, I realized, I think 2 weeks ago, I didn't do a video for maybe a week and a half, and I could feel it inside that something was missing, like that. You mentioned if you're not consistent with it, it falls away. Then I went to do another video. I had to be thinking really hard about what the subject were and all that kind of thing, really. So I think it's just a matter of being consistent with it as well, and that's how you get to micro discipline. And I think from what you're saying, Danny, the one thing for me now which is missing, as what Casper is saying, is income. Because after a while, we're going to get to the point where I've got a podcast going, I'm working coaching as well, and I'm actually coaching 2 nephews at mining property as well, which is another thing I'm doing, and the construction company. So I've got all these things going on, but at the same time, I'm kind of wide, and I need to sort of draw in now and get the income going, which will make everything come together, that missing link. So that missing link is the income for me now, and because I do see a lot of people come on the SFM and they go because the income is not there. So that's what I wanted to share.
I appreciate it, man. So if you break down your day, for example, right? Like just your average day, you've got your coaching with your nephews, which I think is amazing. Like we talked about, you're building your property business, you've got your coaching business, your podcast, your SFM. How much of each day, do you, and you don't have to answer me, but I'm just saying this is how I would choose to look at it, right? Is how much of this day is invested into actual income producing activities, if income is that missing link. You know what I mean? Because like personally, I know, especially early on in my journey, I could be all day busy doing a whole bunch of shit that ain't making me any money, right? Like it's like I could get lost in webinars, or I could get lost in just learning, because as you know, technology for me is, it's not my thing. So I could just get caught up in doing all of these things that take energy, that take effort, that take time. And I feel like I'm working, which I am because I'm growing, but it's, end of the day, is this producing any income, right? Is this income producing activity? And I think that a pivot that I made was when I got intentional that was every single day, like I was going to invest a certain portion of my day into income producing activity. And I think we've talked about it in here with the power list, right? So if you're new to our call, the power list is super technical. So you might not be able to do it from a technological perspective, but what you need a notebook. It's just like this. It is a notebook. And then you also need a writing utensil of some kind. It could be a pen. It could be crayons. It could really be anything that you need. And then what you do is every day you write down, I do 3 things, right? You could do a little more, but it's just super basic. 3 things that you have to accomplish that day that will move you forward in your business, right? So, and you can do this for anything. You can do it for health. You can do it for your relationship. You can do it for your spirituality. You can do it for anything, okay? But for me, I'm kind of habitual in the effort that I put into those things. They're kind of natural to me. But for the business, there are things that I procrastinate, right? Like shooting videos. Like when Hilton said he was going to do 6 videos a day, I almost exploded. I can't stand doing videos, but it's part of what I have to do. I advertise on YouTube. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to do videos, man. So I started putting that down as just part of my daily activities. So with the power list, you just write down 3 things that are going to move you forward, and we'll use your business for this example. Okay. And like it can't necessarily be like I love webinars. I love learning things. I love reading books, but that in itself is not going to move me forward in my business. So it needs to be things that are actionable. Like if you've been putting off your new ad, writing your ad is actionable. You know, if you've been putting off broadcasting to your subscribers, that's something that's actionable. You know, if you're in the product business and you want to have an actual product, well, you got to figure out what the hell you want to sell, right? So you got to put down a certain amount of research. So if you're new to this, the power list thing, it's in my experience been a game changer in making me do things that are income producing activity. And it also helped me, I'll keep it on me, helped me focus not on the fact that I wasn't earning the money that I needed, right? Because if I'm just focusing on the lack, that's not fun, you know. But if I focus on these three things that I need to do today, for one, it feels good when I check them off. Like, you know, I have a little green pen for a check, or I have a little red pen with an X if I don't do it, and I just write win in green at the bottom of the day if I win it, and if I lose, I write lose in red. You know, and there's different schools of thought on that. Like some people don't do the red. I know Casper and I talked about this one time where, you know, he doesn't do the red like for losing. You know what I mean? But to me, I don't know. I talk to myself a lot. Like I'll be, oh, you lost today? You suck, man. Tomorrow's your day. You know what I mean? I get like that to myself. So I'm not recommending that. It might not be healthy, but for me personally, that works, right? Plus I like colors, you know, I color.
And I fully agree there, Danny. There's the only reason why I say don't use the red, me personally, is because of the fact that karma. So you might be doing something today that you don't know what the outcome is next week, next year. That's the only reason why I say sometimes we procrastinate. Sometimes, like today, I've just been watching documentaries, and the only reason I allow myself to do that, so not feeling guilty, see, it's a mental game there, not feeling guilty, is because I know that one day I will get a job and they say, hey, what do you know about building medieval castles? Well, apparently I do know. And that's the thing. So you don't know what you're doing at the moment, what the benefit will be in the end. Sometimes that will create a healthier mindset. That's the only thing what I meant with that.
That is some shit you would know. Like somebody would ask about some medieval castle and you would have the answer. That is absolutely something that would not surprise me for you to know about, man.
No, the reason why I say this, especially to Hilton, there is that sometimes you work, and I fully agree on what you're saying there, Danny. Fully, absolutely agree in that we need to do our money in money generating income hours a day as well. But also we need to give ourselves a little bit of slack when we're doing something else, when we're just watching waves or watching a tree, because you can learn so much from that. You can learn so much from doing the nothingness. And the biggest problem there is that we think we are not working. Well, I'm not working, but you are. And there will be one day, and this is what we call karma, don't we?
Yeah, part of it. I'm with you.
Back to the studio.
Yeah, we got to do it. Yeah, this is the studio. Curls has a studio. She's got the fancy microphone.
Hey,
Alba, I saw it. Hey, Shabir. What's up, buddy?
And great topic. And I'm sitting here and listening and just thinking about being disciplined. We all like-minded people here, and we all want to be disciplined, and we want to do things, but still we don't do it. And then we come up and we say, okay, to do things, you have to have a strong why behind it. And then we have the why, and still we don't do it. You have to have your purpose. And then, okay, that's my purpose. I want to do this. And you want to write down things. And still you don't do it because there's so many distractions. As Chris was saying, for example, with your mobile phone, put it away. And I did that as well. And still I was procrastinating. It's just keep happening. It's easy to say, let's be disciplined. But still we're not disciplined. I think each of us think, what can we do to take action? Right? As you said, Danny, write 3 things in your notebook or your diary and say 1, 2, 3, I do. And I did that, and still I wasn't doing it. And then I found a way, because you got to keep doing, and keep thinking to find a way. Now I'll write one thing, and I said to my wife, this is what I have to do, and you got to come and ask me, have I done it or not? And if I haven't done it, there's a punishment. Same thing I do with them. This is the only thing now it's working for me and for my team members. Honestly, we all say that we want to do, and still we don't do it. You got to find a way. And this is, it may doesn't work for you. Even if you think you don't have a team at home, like with Danny, I can do the same thing. Danny, you said you're going to do this. Have you done it? Just, it will be pain of discipline this much. They might don't like you at the time. Sometimes I don't like my wife when she says, you haven't done it, what's going on? And then after I hug her and I say, thank you. Now I feel good because I've done it. So we must find a way to do it, because we keep procrastinating and keep wasting our times. That's what I wanted to share. And I found a way, and it's working for me. Get someone to tap on your shoulder and say, you have to do it, why you haven't done it. They will hate you at the moment, but later on they will love you. Thank you, guys.
Shabir, I can't imagine your wife slapping you on the shoulder at all. What's your punishment?
Oh, I can.
You can?
Yeah. Sahar gives him a bed. He gives him a bedtime, man, and I'll shoot him a message and be like, "Hey, bro, it's 10 o'clock. Are you in bed?"
Exactly. She sent me, and I said, Danny, shush, because if my wife finds out, she's going to get upset. 10 o'clock, I have to be in bed. So I got some accountability partners from other side of the planet, like Danny, that always called me. And the punishment girls, I can't say it publicly here. If you want, I can send you a message. I'm sorry.
My man, that's a mic drop moment.
Yeah,
I love
it. She gets migraines.
So, you said the pain, right? The pain of discipline or the pain of regret?
There's a beautiful thing there.
One of the two.
If you look at the origin of the word discipline, it's about pain. It's a really strange thing. Discipline, literally, the word comes from the French or Latin, from just punishing. That's discipline. That's where it comes from. It changed into a really beautiful thing nowadays, as in self-discipline. And I think that that's the thing that we need to think about here. The difference between discipline from schooling and all that kind of stuff, or self-discipline, which is self-punishment in a way, what you're talking about there, Shabir, because discipline literally means getting the rhythm in by pain.
Well, and it's most growth is associated with some type of, it might not have to be as far as pain, but discomfort. I don't grow if I'm sitting on the couch watching TV. You know what I mean? Like you grow and you get uncomfortable. Like I believe, right? Like it's that friction. It's that friction that helps us grow. And I think that the discipline. I mean, we talk about it here all the time. How we build self-confidence is making and keeping commitments to ourselves, right? Which just boils down to discipline, and we have to exercise that discipline in order to fulfill on those commitments. But then we get the reward. We feel good about it. Like when you do everything that you tell yourself you're going to do that day, and you look back, you feel. I feel good, And
I think, Danny, we gotta get used to the pain. There's always pain. Pain of discipline this much, or pain of regret that much. It's a choice. What you like. You like this much pain or that much pain. You make that decision. I always choose this much pain. It hurts a lot, but it's good.
Short bursts, right? I love it.
Can I just add something there, Danny? I think
of course.
Sometimes we think we're being disciplined and we're beating ourselves up for being too disciplined. So you have a task, so I think there's a few people who learn to play guitar. So I'll have a song and I think, right, I'm going to learn this by 3 hours time. And you get to 20 minutes and you think, hang on a minute, this isn't working. So it's like, right, let's try harder. So you think, right, discipline, try harder. You get to 40 minutes and you're trying to try harder and you think, I need a break. No, I've got to keep going. And by the end of the 3 hours, you've completely, you think you've been disciplined, but actually been completely undisciplined. And you've ruined 2 out of those 3 hours of getting to the end of that song. So I find that I think I'm being disciplined by, right, just work hard, really work hard. But what I'm realizing actually is that I'm wasting that time. So one of the coaches has said to me, just think about an hour as 50 minutes. So you do 50 minutes work, you walk away, give yourself 10 minutes stretch, sing, do all that kind of stuff, and you come back, be much more effective. So some point is, sometimes we think we're being disciplined, but we're being very inefficiently disciplined, if you know what I mean. We're not being disciplined in the right way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Plus we're not enjoying the time that we're doing. If we say I'm gonna learn this song in 3 hours, we're not enjoying those 3 hours because we have this thing at the end. If we say I'm gonna play the guitar for 45 minutes, and then I'm gonna chill, and then I'm gonna play the guitar for 45 minutes, right? Without that expectation on it, then we don't have that resentment on ourselves, No, and I agree with staying sharp like that too. That Abraham Lincoln said, "You give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend 4 hours sharpening the axe." Right? Paul, you had your hand up, brother?
Yeah, great subject. Loving it. Pain. I love pain. I just do. I love pain. When I go out on my bike, I used to hate hills. I used to hate pain, but now I go in search of hills, and I hit a hill, I go down, take it on again. I do that 5 or 6 times. I adore it. And I got this idea from a UFC fighter. I've told this story before. Randy Couture, back in 2007, I think it was. He won the heavyweight championship at 47. And he said that he made pain his friend. So in a fight, when you get to that pain barrier, people, they run away from it. They don't like it. It's horrible. He made pain his friend. He embraced it. So in his training, he'd come up against it and just keep knocking on that wall, to make it his friend. So when he came up against the pain barrier in a fight, he was perfectly familiar and comfortable with it. He embraced it. It was like greeting an old friend. And I love that idea. And I think it works because, as you say, your best self, or what you want, the goals, are the other side of that pain barrier. It's the other side of that resistance. The person you want to become is the other side of that resistance. So you've got to, I think, find a way to push through the resistance and suffer the pain, suffer the discomfort. I mean, for pain, you can use the word discomfort. Pain can conjure up, some pretty gruesome kind of images, but think discomfort. You've got to find a way of getting comfortable with it, so that when you come face to face with it, it's at least familiar to you. It's not a shock. You're familiar with it. You're familiar, if not comfortable, with that discomfort. So that's how I go about my life. I seek pain.
I fully agree there. There's a really big difference between physical pain and mental pain. And there's a lot of mental pains, but what you're doing here, when you do sports, you try to figure out what your mental threshold is, not your literal threshold. Yeah,
but when you've gone up and down a hill 5 times, it's a mental game. Then it really is. It's I think absolutely there's a difference in physical and mental. I mean, another thing is, just to go on a bit, if I may, with this subject, just to investigate it a little bit more. I'm a bit of a maniac when it comes to creating habits. So I have this thing that when I start doing something, or I have an idea to do something, I can't not do it anymore. I just do it every single day, forever. So I started having cold showers in 2019. I think there's a guy on an elite influence called Luke, I think it was, about October 2019. He was talking about having cold showers. So I had one, and I haven't missed a day since. And when I go out on my bike, I've just started going the long way round. So I go to a park and I train, and I've just started going a long way back to home. And now that I've done that, I can't go back. Every day now I go that long way round. And I've just been through this cold patch we've had in England over the past few weeks. And I see a lot of hardcore cyclists that are out every day in this particular park. when we had that cold patch with snow and ice, there's nobody there. I was there every day, but the hardcore people weren't there anymore. So kind of that made me feel good, because it means I'm just getting it done, and most people aren't. So yeah,
that's it. Go the extra mile, bro. It's never crowded.
Yeah, I think so.
I love it. All right, Albert, real quick, man, we got to shut it down. But you had mentioned something about bullet journaling. I saw that come up there. Could you explain what that is really quick? Because I know someone else who does that, and it's very helpful to them. It's not my personal jam, but I know some people have had success with that. So would you at least share that so people can look it up if it interests them?
Yeah, of course. I tried bullet journaling when I started uni, and I loved it and haven't gone back since I tried it. It's basically it's a blank notebook, but instead of just blank pages, it's got little dots, so that it's just easier to kind of create your own. Here, look, there's an example.
Okay.
So it's basically you can use it for whatever you want. I use it for just having it like a planner / diary, and I love it because I need some kind of planner or something to get me through my, like, to be disciplined, like we're talking about, and, you know, get what I need to get done. But normal diaries just weren't enough. I needed more than just the weekly spread, you know, for like gratitude page and a habits page and all that kind of stuff. So it's basically, yeah, it's a blank diary, but it's, instead of just blank pages, it's got the little dots just to make it easier for you to make your own designs and all that kind of stuff. It's great. I love it. Highly recommend it.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, guys. So we're at the top of the hour. Thank you everyone for participating. And so our action items for the week, because well done is always better than well said. One is the same as always. You know, if it's your first time here, is to reach out to someone and tell them that you appreciate them, that you're grateful to have them in your life. Preferably call them. Or a voice message, you know, as opposed to like text or an email, but just reach out and tell someone that you appreciate them today. I promise you it will not make their day worse. The other will be to sit for 10 minutes in silence without your telephone in the same room. And just think about whatever area comes to your mind that you'd like to see improve, right? And then just come up with a way to apply some micro discipline to improving it. And if you need help with it, reach out to me. You know, I get back to everybody, you know, just Danny@living.grateful.com. Hit me up anytime. And I'll be happy to help with that. And our book of the week, I cannot believe that I have not recommended this book before, but I looked it up and I have not, is The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews, right? The man, John Jackson, turned me on to this book, and I have bought it and given it away more than once. It is awesome. The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. It's good stuff. All right. Not next week, fortnightly, which is 2 weeks for my mates. We've been interviewing folks every now and then. We had the Amazing Curls last month on there, and I have gotten Mr. Justin Wolf to agree to come on and let me pepper him with questions. I'm really excited about that. You know what I mean? Yeah, girl.
You won't forget.
Yep. So, you know, it's not
gonna be
technical. Yeah. It's gonna be good. It's not gonna be technical. It's not gonna be about anything like that. It's gonna be about life shit. Right, because that's what we talk about on this call. So if you have any questions that you would like me to ask him, anything particularly that you want to know, shoot me a message, shoot Curl's a message. She'll pass it on. Just trying to give her extra work. Just reach out. Let me know what you want, and I'll add it to the list of stuff I'm going to ask him. But obviously, there will be some randomness going on. Some will be deep. Some will be totally ridiculous, because that's what we do. But thank you for joining us today. If it was your first time here, welcome. We're glad that you were here. I'm super grateful to get this space from you guys and learn from you every couple of weeks. So thank you so much. And Curls, thank you for being a rock star and for making all this happen. We appreciate you.
Always having fun on these calls. Yeah, Thank you guys for showing up. 44 of you today. It's amazing, amazing attendance. Thank you for sharing your amazing insights, and get ready with some silly questions for Justin Wolf. Let's challenge the big guy, okay? Let's not make it easy for him. Let's go all the way cool kids bantering there.
I like it. Oh, I've got a good idea. I've got an idea. We're gonna see who can send me the most ridiculous question to ask him. The most ridiculous question wins. You've got a good chance. So
Right.
the most ridiculous question, and I'm gonna come up with some type of prize that you win.
Okay,
sure.
so
How about Danny?
Yeah, bro.
Ladies first.
yeah, ridiculous question, but nothing vulgar or below the belt or anything like that, because I will cut you out in a second.
She will mute you. When she has your picture on the call, she will mute you. That's what
I won't do that. I will kick you out of the call.
Danny,
Yeah, bro.
why don't you get the all cool kids involved and everyone one by one ask one question from Justin on the call?
Well, I
Something
thought
new.
of doing that. The reason why I said to kind of send them to me is, for one, a lot of people ask the same question, and two, for time constraints, because you know what I mean. Like sometimes we just run out of time.
Especially with Justin.
I think
Yeah.
with
The
Justin
man
2
loves
hours.
to talk.
Wow. Feeling the love.
Yeah, it's
I'm
Justin.
feeling the love.
I was just thinking that. I didn't want to say it though.
If you said,
He takes a while to make a point, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He's a
but
great
Yeah.
communicator. Great
Yeah.
communicator.
if we listen to the end, there's always a point to be made, right? So I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I like it. He's always doing the asking. Like, I'm excited to do the asking. You know what I mean? It's going to be good. So yeah, send me your questions. Thank you guys. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate it.
In regards
Yes,
to the
girls.
questions, how did we do that last time? Did we have like a Google Doc or something? So that you're not recorded all over the place, so that everybody puts the questions in one place.
We've had a Google Doc, but people didn't really enter anything into that. People just sent me messages, which I'm cool with. You know what I mean? Just send me the messages, because it'll be done that day. I don't leave open emails, because then I got the red bubble. I'm not into that.
I know you're really good. You're really good at Excel. Just put it in Excel.
Don't worry. I got a system. Believe it or not, I have a system.
Yeah, you
so
do.
You send it to me.
Casper, don't confuse Danny with tech stuff, okay? Leave him alone. He's fine with his messages. So send Danny messages, yeah? All to Danny. Not curls, all to Danny.
Send them in. Send them to me.
Is this going to be 2 hours call in 2 weeks' time with Justin? So 1 to 3 a.m. for me?
Yeah. We'll try to get it done a little before that, bro.
Okay.
Shabir, the average is 3 hours.
That would be 4 a.m. for me.
Wow.
No,
I like it.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen with me. It's gonna be an hour 15 maximum.
Yes, ma'am.
We need the other calls behind. So yeah, it's gonna be really fun. A lot of banter. So
we will have, if nothing else, we will have a good time.
Oh yeah, I have.
Right.
Justin has a great sense of humor, so I look forward to it. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time, guys. And
Awesome.
don't forget, this Sunday, we're launching a new InFocus call on Facebook ads. So for those of you that want to learn about that, it's in the calendar. Just go and register. It's at 1 p.m. EST. So I hope to see some of you there. Love
this
you all.
Sunday.
This coming Sunday, yes. This week. Keeping awesome.
Have an amazing day, y'all. Later.
Thank you. Love you, Danny. Bye-bye.
Love you, sweetheart.
Say hi
Take
to
care.
Mom.
Bye, guys. I'll say hi to Mom.